you're watching Gearz, brought to you by Cornwell Tools, the choice of professionals.
Welcome to Gearz. You know, a while back, we rolled a rare 8,000-mile original Jeepster into the shop to do some upgrades on it. And in spite of some obvious wiring damage, some questionable restoration techniques, the old Jeep was in really good shape. So good, in fact, that we decided that all the Jeep really needed was just a level 1 style restoration. Now, some of you guys might be looking at that going, okay, so what exactly is a level 1 restoration? Well, obviously it's the simplest type of restoration that you can do, and the goal is to get the vehicle running and driving safely and reliably. And those are the two key words, safe and reliable. It's not just to get the vehicle running, drive it down the road, and hope you make it back. No, that's just getting the vehicle running. A level 1 restoration is to make sure it's safe and reliable so you can drive it anytime you want. So that means you have to address the fuel system, the brakes, the electrical, the cooling system, and of course the wheels and tires. And speaking of wheels and tires, you might be wondering, what happened to those original wheels and hubcaps? Oh, they're around here somewhere. But this is where personal preference comes in. Kind of like putting on a 2-inch lift as opposed to just keeping everything stock. I much more prefer the wider, more aggressive look of a traditional 4x4. And these Mickey Thompson 17x9 Classic 3 rims are perfect for this because they not only clear those front disc brakes, but you also don't have to use the spacers like you would with those original wheels and tires. These have the right look and they're a better setup. To finish it off, we wrapped those wheels with 265/65/17 Baja Boss all-terrain tires to give us not only attitude, but traction if we venture off-road. The best part is, the original wheels will bolt right back on if we ever want to go back to that look. Now, at this point, you're pretty much done. I mean, you have a mechanically sound vehicle that you can enjoy anytime that you want. You can stop right here. This is why level 1 projects are so popular. However, if you want to still turn some wrenches on this thing, you can take it to a level 2. Now, what is that? Well, a level 2 is a cosmetic and mechanical restoration, which is obviously more involved than just getting it running and driving. Here are some aspects of a level 2. First up is the engine and drivetrain. Now, a level 2, just like a level 1, is going to utilize the same original type engine. Now, you can hot rod it, you can modify it, you could rebuild it, you can drop another one in like we did on the Scrambler. As long as it's still a version of what originally came in the vehicle, that's still a level 2 project. However, if you want to put a modern LS or some other kind of crazy engine in your project, that becomes a level 3 resto mod like we're doing on the Camaro. A level 4 is anytime you pull the body off the frame like we did on this 40 Chevy. And of course, a level 5 is the custom build, which adds design and engineering into the mix, like we did on the Cheetah, the V8 Interceptor, or Sergeant Rock. Now, obviously, each one of these levels require different tools, different workspace, different skill levels, and that's the point of this system. It keeps you on track, and it keeps you on budget, and hopefully you don't get discouraged and give up on your project. Okay, enough of that. Back to our level 2 on the Jeepster. Now, so far we've taken care of almost all the mechanical aspects of this. Now we're going to move on to the cosmetics.
In a world of economic uncertainty, there will always be a need for quality tools and people who can use them. That's why becoming a Cornwell tool dealer is one of the best career moves you can make. With routes available all across the nation, it's a great way to be your own boss, supply high-quality tools to professionals, and make some real money. If you're tired of working for someone else, have the drive to succeed, and want a career that can be successful no matter what happens on Wall Street, there's a Cornwell tool truck with your name on the side.
Hey, welcome back to Gearz and our 67 Jeepster project that we have officially turned into a level 2 restoration project, which means it's a mechanical and cosmetic restoration. Now, the cosmetic aspect of one of these kind of projects usually breaks down into 3 components: the interior and top, the weather stripping in the windows, and the body work and paint. So for now, we're going to deal with the interior, see what we got. The first step is to clean up the carpet and check the floor panels for rust and damage. And as usual, the evidence of mice and other crawly things is everywhere. So spend some time cleaning things up because you don't want to be rolling around in this stuff. Okay, with the carpet all cleaned up, the next thing to assess, if you have a convertible, is that thing right there, the convertible top. Now obviously, if it's all torn up, then you have no choice but to just rip all the stuff off and get it out of the way so you can work. But if there is any chance that you can reuse this, well, obviously you want to clean it up, try to protect it so you can roll it down and get it out of the way. So let's see what we got here. The old top material is definitely stiff and dirty, but it's not brittle or cracking, so that's good. A few of the snaps have pulled out, which is typical, but there's no rips or damage or signs of extreme wear. So this is worth saving. We'll start by cleaning up the back window to get rid of the grit and the haze. After that, we'll scrub down the top with an all-purpose vinyl cleaner from Mother's to get rid of any dirt or trash that can damage the top or window when it's folded up. Then we'll follow that with a vinyl protectant to treat the material and keep it as soft and supple as possible. All right, the top is clean and looking so much better. Now we need to try to make this thing work. And this is where you're probably going to find some surprises. Like this creative wiring that somebody did by cutting up an old extension cord to get power to the top. Man, this is craziness. And probably what caused the burn wiring under the hood. It's also a great example of why you not only need to be able to troubleshoot and fix what came from the factory, but also what somebody may have hacked up over the years. So, bypassing all the junk, we know we need direct power from the battery to the relays coming in here. And then we need power from the top switch to the relays here and here. This is what changes the direction of the pump and makes the top go up and down. Now, these wires appear to be in pretty good shape. So, we will pull out the old switch, which is obviously broken, and we'll wire in a new switch for testing. Next, we'll pull the power wire off the ignition that feeds the top switch and connect it to the battery, along with a power lead that runs directly to the relays to power the pump motor. Finally, we'll ground the motor to the battery and keep our fingers crossed that the motor and the relays are still in good shape and haven't been burned up by extension cord Eddie. Now, if you've never messed with a convertible top before, you may not realize how big of a victory this is. Now, if you can't get your top to work, it's all right. You can bypass the hydraulics and drop the top manually. But the fact that we got this thing to work means we don't have to look for pumps and cylinders and all those other things that are involved with restoring a convertible top. So that's going to save us a ton of time and money on this project. Now, obviously, it's going to have to be rewired properly when you get to the wiring aspect of your project, not just bypass like we did, but at least for now, this allows us to raise and lower the top to give us total access to this interior.
If you like cars, if you like coffee, you're gonna love Gearz coffee cars. Because in each pack, you'll find a special blend of rich, robust coffee to get your blood pumping, as well as a collectible cartoon sticker and matching photo card of some of the wildest vehicles Stacey has built or featured over the years. Collect the whole series and be sure to keep an eye out for the ultra-rare Strange Brew card that are added to random packages to keep things interesting. It's Gearz coffee cars, the best bean on the car scene.
Hey, welcome back to Gearz and our 67 Jeepster project. Obviously, we have the top operational, and as you can see, step back and look at this. This has got to be one of the coolest body styles that Jeep ever made. With its longer wheelbase like the CJ8 Scrambler, man, it's hard to believe that these were not more popular back in the day. But that's what makes them collectible now. All right, with the top taken care of, now we move on to the next step, and that is seat upholstery and carpet. And this brings up the pivotal question that comes up with any project. Are the seats, the upholstery, the carpet, the door panels, sun visors, are they in good enough shape for you to restore and use for another couple years? Or are they completely shot and need to be replaced? Now, the reason I say this is a pivotal question, because the way you answer this can add potentially hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars to your restoration project that you might not be ready to do. So you got to choose wisely here. Here's what I recommend. If you plan on driving the vehicle and the components are in decent shape, try to make your upholstery, your carpet, your top, those kind of things last as long as possible. If they're faded or worn, there's all kinds of products and paints available to help bring them back to life. And it's a whole lot cheaper than replacing them. This way you can enjoy the vehicle for a while and save up some money. Then when you're ready and everything is completely worn out, you can replace it all. It does not all have to be done right now. For example, if you'll remember, the carpet is old and faded and it has a funky smell to it, so it needs to be replaced. The seat upholstery, on the other hand, is definitely restorable. So we went to Jeepster Man, got some small stuff. We got some door handles, we have a plastic insert for the glove box, we have sun visors, we have things to restore the console and the gauges, but we also got bigger things like a carpet set. And that includes all of the sound deadening for every part of the Jeep and the carpet. Now look, this is not just a couple pieces of carpet. These are sewn pieces for the wheel wells and the back area. Look at this. And you have the area that goes back behind the seats. Then you have the area where your feet are as the driver. Look at this. Now the thing that you really want to look at here, notice that all of these cuts are all stitched and finished. Look at that. So you don't have a bunch of frayed edges sitting out there. Everything is also marked for your shifters, your seats, everything. This is a really nice carpet set. Okay, the first part of any interior rehash is to get things off the floor. So we're going to unbolt these seats and console and get them out of the way. Part of the fun of restoring an old vehicle is finding old add-ons and modifications, like this underseat heater and this cup holder. And if you like them, keep them. If not, get rid of them. Under the rear seat, we found some indication of why there was a funky smell inside here. Some poop and nuts. The seat belts also need to come off, and if the bolts break off or twist out, that's a good indication that you have rusty floors. Fortunately, ours came right out. Now these original seat belts, these are hard to find, so we're going to set those aside to be cleaned up and restored. The console is the next thing to come out, and it's a pretty simple removal, but When we lifted it out, it revealed one of the biggest mouse nests I'd ever seen in an old car. This is almost too big to suck up in a vacuum cleaner. Almost. The last thing to pull off are the rear side panels, and those will also be set aside for restoration. Now, once you have your side panels out of the way, this gives you a chance to really look over your convertible top mechanism. Now, even though we have it working, you want to be on the lookout for missing bolts like this right here, or any kind of leaks. As you can see, we've got some leaks going on here. You can't just leave that. Now is the time to fix it. Okay, with the floor cleared, we can finally pull up the old carpet and sound deadener. Now this sounds easy, but that's not always the case. Somebody obviously used some glue to hold this down.
A successful automotive project takes planning and organization. But instead of using an old tablet or notebook, there's the Gearz Deluxe Project Planning Book. This was designed to help you lay out a project, the parts, the tools, costs, and keep it organized with colored tabs, a pouch for receipts, and even a place to attach photos. If you decide to sell the vehicle, it serves as a complete history of what's been done. If you have a project or plan on starting one, the Gearz Project Planning Book is the best way to lay it out and make it happen. Can't get enough Gearz? Make sure to check out the Tales of a Gearhead podcast, where Stacey brings a lifetime of automotive knowledge, friendships, and expertise to the listener. Also, check out our social media channels for updates and videos of Gearz projects, as well as special contests, giveaways, and events. If you have a vehicle you want to enter into What Are You Working On?, go to staceydavid.com and submit it. There's also the online store and tons of other Gearhead information that will encourage you to get out there, build something, and go drive it.
Hey, welcome back to Gearz and our interior rehash of this old 67 Jeepster convertible. Now, as you can see, we have the sound deadening in place, we've got the rear carpet areas in, and it's making a huge difference, not only in the way it looks, but in the way it smells in here. No longer do we have that nasty overtone of old mouse pee. That's all outside in that nasty pile. Now, anytime that you find a mouse nest like we did, make sure you check your floors, because that can contribute to rusty floors. Fortunately, as you saw, our floors checked out good, so now we're moving on. All right, anytime that you install a direct fit carpet like this, that does not mean that it's going to just drop in place and fit perfect. As you can see, there's no holes for the shifters, there's nothing for the seat mounts, nothing like that. That's up to you to cut those. So there is a little bit of trimming that you're going to have to do. So grab your scissors and your razor knife. Let's get busy. Okay, with the floor carpet in, that brings up the seats. And the vinyl on the seats is actually in pretty good shape. It's just really dirty. So we'll get to work with a heavy-duty cleaner and see if we can bring them back to life. We'll follow that up with the console, and a simple cleaning did wonders for this as well. However, there are some places that the paint is starting to flake off, so eventually this is going to have to be repainted. Now, as you can see, doing a combination of cleanup and restoration has not only done wonders for the way this interior looks, but it's also kept the cost down too. Now, obviously, there's still a lot to do. I have to do the door panels, have to do these rear panels, there's the dash, There's the steering wheel, there's a bunch of other things, and we're out of time right now. But once I get all of this finished, we're gonna have an interior that we can take anywhere and use however we want. Now, is it perfect? No. Is it gonna win car shows? Probably not. But that's not the point. You will have a ball taking this to those car shows, or to the store, or to the lake, and not thinking a thing about it. It's kind of hard to do that with a show car. And that's the magic of a level 2 style project. Sometimes you can work on it and enjoy it and not spend a fortune all at the same time if you follow a plan and choose what you replace wisely.
What are you working on? Brought to you by Woodward Fabrication, selling quality metalworking equipment since 1966.
Today's What Are You Working On comes from David, and he is from Alabama. And his project is a 1984 Corvette. Now, he knows the history of this car since it was brand new because his cousin bought it and then ragged on it for 165,000 miles, had a ball with it. Now, he said his cousin got sick and he had a chance to buy it after his cousin passed away. He says, I've been at it for almost 2 years now. He said, and it's my time to get out there and just get away from the rat race and focus on the art of making something cool. I love this guy. All right. For the specifics, here's what he's doing. He says he's keeping the original 350. He ditched the heads in the intake. He installed some Flowtech heads. That is a Phytech fuel injection sitting on top of it. He's got a comp cam and roller rockers. And he also ditched that automatic transmission, smart move. Picked up a 6-speed from a 93 Vet, stuffed that in along with a Dana 44 rear end. Now, as you can see, he's even done some of his own powder coating in his oven. And he said his wife was not too happy about that. But he says, being the supportive wife that she is, she went out and got him a used oven that he can now use out in the garage. Yeah, I don't know if she's trying to help you or kill you, man. You don't want to mess with her oven. All right, he says for the final color, he's leaning more toward a tactical gray to kind of mimic the old F18s that he used to work on in the Navy. Man, that is going to be a cool car. And those Corvettes, not the best body style, but they were a performance car. I can't wait to see it done. So to recognize such a cool project, we went to Woodward Fab. We're going to give you one of these sandbags and some mallets for shaping metal. Now, as you can see, you got 3 different heads of mallets for doing all kinds of different contours and shapes. I know there's not a lot of metal on that Corvette, but these are great for doing brackets and smaller panels. And when you go to your next project, which will probably be out of metal, you'll have those. Also, we're going to give you a Gearz fender cover to protect that paint once you get the car painted. Then we're going to give you one of these deluxe project planning books. This will allow you to keep track of everything that you've done to that Corvette. And then finally, we're going to give you a copperhead die cast. Now, for the rest of you guys, if you want to get in on this and get your projects featured on the show, you got to send them to us. Go to our website, go to Gearz Nation, and submit it into What Are You Working On? The website's also the place to find out more information on any products you may have seen on the show, any Gearz merchandise, and how to join Gearz Nation. Also, make sure you check out our social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all at Official Stacey David. YouTube is also the place to view all of your favorite Gearz episodes, as well as the Gearz Restoration Series and our full project builds that follow a project from beginning to end. And finally, if you're a radio person, be sure and check out our podcast, Tales of a Gearhead. All right, that wraps it up for us today, which means it is officially time for you to get out there and start turning some of your own wrenches. It doesn't matter what your project is. If you don't have a project, you need to get out and find one. There's a lot of 80s Corvettes out there. Just ask David. All right, we'll see you next time.